Morning, everyone. This is Cassie Stimo. I am the Senior Digital Marketing Specialist here at EAC. Thanks for joining us today. We'll start off with a quick intro of EAC, and then Kurt Peterson, Chris Hanegraaff, and Rob Miller will introduce themselves. Everyone gets a recording of the session pending any technical difficulties. There's also a short survey that will appear once the webinar is over. So hang tight, and once we're done, and we'll have you answer those questions, and then during the webinar, drop your questions in the queue along the way, and we'll answer those after the presentation. So first off, I'll tell you a little bit about who we are. At EAC, our mission is to transform the way companies design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. We're more than just a value-added reseller for PTC. We've been partnered with them for over 20 years with experts in 22 areas of product development. We're located all over the US with our headquarters in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We offer our customers everything they need for product development, from CAD and simulation software for the full product design process, software for managing service documentation, and software for managing product data. We assist with design and engineering projects and offer webinars and PTC certified training courses for continuous learning. We also implement the industrial Internet of Things and augmented reality into business strategies to jumpstart initiatives around digital transformation and connecting all things in your company. We also offer our customers Formlabs desktops SLA 3D printers. The demo that you'll be seeing later on in this webinar was actually built on 3D printed parts made from a Formlabs printer. The printers include the Form 3 for engineering parts and prototypes, the Form 3B for biocompatible medical and dental materials, and the Form 3L for larger SLA prints. So we try to make sure you remember that EAC is the company you need to partner with to get all of your technology you need at the forefront to make your team successful. I'll go ahead and hand things over to the IoT team to introduce themselves.
Hey, thanks, Cassie. My name is Kurt Peterson. I'm going to be walking through sort of the intro level setting part of this presentation. I am EAC's IoT Technical Account Manager with a history in industrial automation. And I used to work with PLCs, HMI, helping customers implement their solutions. With me today, I've got Chris Hanegraaff, one of our solutions architects, as well as Rob Miller, the VP of our Connected Solutions business. Chris and Rob, you want to intro?
Thanks, Kurt. I'm Chris Hanegraaff. Like Kurt said, a solutions architect here. I've actually been working on IoT projects and platforms in the last 5 years now, and excited to show off the demo that we've got for you guys today, coming to you from somewhat snowy, which is a little disappointing, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Rob Miller. I'm actually in our Burnsville office, and I'm the local tightrope walker with the live machine here in our office. I'm here solo during this COVID issue. The rest of our team is distributed elsewhere. I get to help out with how we connect the dots between digital content, strategy, what companies are trying to do, and that kind of stuff. So glad to be with you guys. Thanks for joining us. So from here, I believe Cassie has a survey, actually, Kurt. So I know we're going to step into what we're talking about for our remote workforce solutions. I think Cassie's got a survey she wanted to share with everybody who's on, so we can kind of understand where people are at in terms of their IoT journey. Is that right, Cassie?
That is right, Rob. Thank you so much for handing things over one last time. I'll go ahead and launch the poll for those of you on today. And can I just get a quick confirmation that you see the poll? Maybe a hands up would suffice. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so you've got a few answers to choose from. The statement is, I would describe our perspective on IoT and smart connected operations as. And all these are obviously relative to your situation. So as I give everyone just a few moments longer to answer, I'll be able to show the poll results so everyone can see where others are at in their journey. Some of our customers have already implemented IoT and sensors to gain insight into real-time analytics into their machines and equipment, and some haven't yet, simply because they don't know where to start. But that's why we're here today. We want to make sure you know how to get started with remote monitoring, especially during this time, being able to check up on your equipment, whether it's automated or not. It allows you to make better and more accurate decisions. Looks like most of you have your answers in. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. Looks like most of you are evaluating an IoT platform that would fit your needs. So it's a good thing you're here today. That's what we are going over. So I'm going to go ahead and hand things back to Kurt, and he will go over some of our remote solutions.
Thanks, Cassie. So this is part of a series that we're doing surrounding remote solutions. You know, EAC has been a company that has worked, spread their workforce far and wide for a long time, and we're very used to this business, but we recognize that's not an industry standard. So in light of the current global pandemic, we put together this webinar series. Is the one focused on asset monitoring and KPI tracking. Some of you might have tuned in for looking at troubleshooting, where we looked at Vuforia Chalk or EAC apps for data management. This is the next one in the series, and we're going to be looking at how connecting to remote assets and getting real-time information from them can be a help to your business. So when we talk about digital transformation, when we talk about connecting to machines and factories, what is that all coming from, right? It's very much the reality of where manufacturing is moving in today's world. So 91% of industrial companies are investing in digital factories. That's going to be the platform that gives them success moving forward. It is going to be imperative for their competitive advantage. In the current market, there is no way to be competitive and be efficient without using these tools. So in that light, we're going to take a quick look at Tech, which is an automotive tier 1 supplier. They build, millions and millions of doors and exhaust systems, valves, different stuff for, the American automotive market. As a tier 1 supplier, they are under an extraordinary amount of pressure to meet delivery, to reduce downtime. So to give you a sense of how much pressure they're under, they've calculated out that every second piece of their machinery that is critical to their process is down costs them $361 a second. So that means that if your machinery goes down, if a CNC machine, say, faults, and you pick up the phone to call the maintenance supervisor, in that 3-minute phone conversation, you have already lost $70,000. So that was not risk that they were willing to accept for much longer. So they looked at the market of industrial tools, and they looked at a lot of different companies, and they selected PTC and the ThingWorx IoT platform to help them solve this issue. So why did they take a look at PTC? Number one, PTC and ThingWorx has an unparalleled ability to connect to factory floor assets. So using the industrial connectivity Kepware device, we can directly source information and pull data from a wide host of end devices. Talking Ethernet IP, talking Profinet, talking Modbus, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Kepware and industrial connectivity gateway can get there. It also was an attractive solution to them because they were looking at not needing to revamp their workforce. ThingWorx is a platform that you can use and develop and improve and constantly iterate on without professional programmers. So they put together a 6-week pilot and they delivered it. When EAC approaches IoT projects, we like to focus on 3 different components that are critical to the success of it. You've got to have a connected thing that you're talking to. You've got to have a platform that can organize that data, and you have to have an overarching strategy of how to connect those things together. So today, Rob and Chris are going to be running us through the connected thing, which is our EAC manufacturing factory, smart factory. Platform we're going to use is, again, ThingWorx IoT platform for the industrial space. And the strategy that we're trying to achieve at the end of the day is real-time KPI tracking to drive decision-making. Again, some of the special sauce that we're going to be using today, and Rob's going to talk about when he goes through the highlight of the video, is the industrial connectivity gateway. This is a real differentiator compared to other manufacturing or IoT spaces is that the ThingWorx Industrial Connectivity Gateway is a broad platform that has drivers to connect to all sorts of different end devices. So this is your link between the factory floor and your enterprise systems that really unlocks a lot of the value that you can use to drive and iterate and improve your business. So with that, I think I'm ready to turn it over to the interesting part of the day. So I'm ready to hand things over to Chris and Rob, and you guys can run us through the factory as we've set it up today.
Awesome. All right, I think Chris is going to kick over. Yep, there we go. That's Chris's view with a Nest Cam looking at our factory that's set up here in our Burnsville office. Now, Chris is remote, but we wanted to give you guys a physical view of what this thing looks like live in front of us. So this is our miniature, ball bearing factory, and we've designed and built this using Creo and the Formlabs printers that Cassie was talking about it, and we're running it with off-the-shelf PLCs, monitoring optical sensors and motor controls and that sort of thing. There's also a robotic arm that pulls out what we would call scrap ball bearings and recycles them into this overall flow so we can monitor it with the dashboard. And you can see that there's a laptop in the screen in the corner there that's running ThingWorx, and we've connected that with an HDMI cord up to a large flat screen for visibility here. And we're going to see what that looks like in a minute. So the thing is why we built this thing. We wanted to build an analog that looked just like what you have in your factory or some of your customers might have, and to show you fundamentally demonstrating the value of the IoT and what it can do for you, like remote monitoring, remote operations or control, mashups for specific roles, augmented reality, and a lot of other really awesome things that directly impact remote work and bottom line. We also want to demonstrate the ease of use of ThingWorx as an industry-ready IoT platform, as well as being able to say, all right, it's easy to connect to regular stuff, things you probably have on your shop floor. So with that, let's get into the actual demonstration. So there's a couple of things here. Chris is acting as a remote line manager or a foreman, if you will. And then Rob, I'm playing the guy who's local running this thing. And so now the objective is to generate a certain number of 3/4 inch ball bearings. And there's 3/4 inch and 1 inch ball bearings in the system. And we've connected to the PLC using ThingWorx so that we can draw raw data in, refine that in ThingWorx, and put it up on the wall and show good parts, bad parts, performance rates, and OEE. It's all there. So now on with the story. 1 inch balls are trapped by the physical quality gauge that's there, and that triggers a robotic arm to put the scrap ball bearings back in place. And we've got bidirectional control with ThingWorx industrial connectivity to the robot and the PLC, and we can actually run this thing remotely. So with me as the local operator, I'm going to jump into my role, and you'll hear some other factory sounds in the background, and that's actually another cell elsewhere here. So in this role, I've been operating it, and Chris has been monitoring the ball bearings from his remote office, and he just got an auto-generated email from ThingWorx notifying him, hey, there's a problem, because he's not here, he can't see the machine. All right, so with that cue of our story, Chris, how about you take over from here?
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob. So like Rob said, I just got a notification. I actually got an email on my phone that says my marble demo machine is in unplanned downtime, which is really bad. So I'm going to go over to my dashboard, which you could see in the background there, and look and see, wow, everything is down. We're not hitting OEE, the motor is off, the whole work cell is down. I'm in unplanned downtime because of a vacuum hose. Well, that's strange. So I'm gonna pretend and call up my operator, Rob, and see what's going on. Hey, Rob, are you there?
Oh, hi, Chris. Yeah, I walked by the machine and I just saw that the vacuum hose was off, and I just hit the restart button. I saw the factory, it wasn't running, and so I saw the hose was off. I put that hose back on, and it seems like things are running again. It's running back in slow mode. How does it look on your end?
Let me see. Yeah, I see the motor came back online and the numbers are starting to rise again. We've got, yeah, the good part rate. It's now up to 120 parts per hour. And yeah, everything seems to be up and running. We'll see if the robot moves when it needs to. and then we should be good to go. So it was a hose issue that you were able to take care of?
Yeah, I mean, you can see on the graphs that stuff was starting to tank. I mean, the quality was all the way up, but the performance was way down. And so I'm not sure why that hose popped off. I got a text message that said, hey, come check out the machine because things were out of sorts. And then when I put it into unplanned downtime, I had to type in a message when I said, all right, turn this machine off, and it recorded that unplanned downtime, and you can see that in the event log. So it's all there, but it looks like it's up and running anyway.
Yeah, it seems like it's running, but I'm not seeing our good parts get to the target that we're looking for of 800 parts per hour. So if you're all right, I'm gonna bump that motor up to high speed from my end and see if that's gonna get us where we need to be.
Okay. All right. Well, I can hear it running. I can see on the mashup that it went up to a higher speed. Yeah, that registered in the event log. Okay, well, that should do it. And I can see the numbers coming up on the graphs. And our marbles per hour rate, that looks like it's coming up. It looks like we're still below target. All right, so maybe we just watch this for a little while. But hey, while I'm looking at this on screen, so see how on the mashup it shows that the good parts per hour has like a decimal on it? I don't make partial ball bearings. And I know that we're under the rate, under whatever the target is. So in my bad part rate, I know I got some scrap. How can I see like a threshold, right? Is there a way you can like improve our mashup so that it makes more sense to me when I walk by?
Yeah, those changes should be easy. In fact, I can just do it right now. It's a good catch on the decimal point there. It's definitely not going to be a half a marble flowing through this. And we do track a bad, like a maximum bad part threshold in the data that comes from the PLC. So what I can do is I'll just go to the ThingWorx composer here and kind of just show you a little bit about it. So we have a screen. That little screen is actually part of a little panel. So I'll bring up and edit that panel to show you kind of the pieces of the composer here. The composer looks like a lot to look at first. There's a lot of information here, but to kind of simplify it, on the left-hand side, we have our widgets, which are anything to display data. You've got buttons and checkboxes and grids and all that good sort of thing. And on the left, you've got all the properties of those widgets that you've connected to. And so it's really just a lot of different properties to show, how do I want to show the data? What do I want this widget to look like? And over on the right, we actually have all of our data. What's coming in from this case, it's coming in from the PLC. We monitor a whole bunch of different stuff, which is coming in all the time from the PLC. So what we wanted to do is make a quick change, and I can show you that by going to our good part per hour, which had a decimal point in there. There's a format property that I can quickly go in and see, oh yeah, there's a decimal point in there. We don't need to do that. So I can just remove that decimal point, hit done. And the other one you wanted to see was what that threshold or that target was for the bad part. Since I've already got a widget set up to do a similar thing, I'm going to take this good part target, copy, and then paste it into this other side, get it in a good spot where I want it. We'll change that label so it makes more sense. We'll call it the max bad threshold. Make sure it's sized right here. And then we want to find we have a target good here that's coming in. We also have a target bad, and that's not connected anywhere. So I'm just going to click, drag, drop it, say I want it to show in the data. And now we see down here is a nice little kind of visual that there's a wire hooked up. So the machine data, target bad, is now hooked up to the data of this widget. Pretty simple. So now all I'd have to do is hit save. And then on your end, if you just want to hit refresh on your browser, now we see those changes in place. It's all taken care of server side, so we don't have to worry about building anything or deploying anything. You hit save and it's ready to go.
All right, well, that's pretty cool. That was simple on my end because, I mean, it's just in a Chrome browser and now it's up on the screen. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so now to recap that, you made a change in ThingWorx and then you just shared it out to me. I mean, if I wanted to have like some kind of a different display, we could just use this data and have like for a different role, build something else. Not right now, but that's what this does, right?
Exactly. Once we've got the data in, which is helped by Kepware to pull everything in from our PLC, the data is all there on the ThingWorx server. Then we just choose how to display it. All of this data that you're seeing on the dashboard comes from that data. The time series, which is logged automatically by ThingWorx when data comes in. I don't have to code any of that. All of the real-time data that comes in for OEE, the parts and the target rates, all comes straight from the data source. And so really all I'm doing is saying, what do you want? Is it a gauge like we've got up for OEE? Is it a label like we've got for the good part target? And how do you want to see it? And ThingWorx kind of just takes care of the rest.
Awesome. Cool, and I can imagine even having this on my phone or something. I think we've seen other ones like that. All right, well, cool, Chris. It looks like we've got the system back up and running. The event log is showing the performance is good, and I can see green parts on the screen, and we're sneaking up on 97% OEE.
Yeah, the numbers are looking great.
Awesome. All righty. Well, Kurt and Kathy, I think that brings us around to the end of our tightrope walk of this demonstration, and all is well with our fictitious marble producing ball bearing factory. So I'll leave it back to you guys. Kurt?
Excellent. Good to know that everything's working well at the fictitious ball bearing factory. I think the last thing I want to highlight is that quick change that Chris was able to do, compared to a SCADA system or an HMI system, something that is more, I would say industrially recognized in the manufacturing space, that was so easy compared to making that change. So this is where the tools really fit in. This is the power of them, is the flexibility, the nimbleness, and the ease of use is really huge. So thank you for that presentation, guys. That worked great. Just want to cap off here, what are some of the statistics for what digital change or digital transformation or industry 4.0, name your buzzword. What is the benefit really supposed to be? What are people saying? From a McKinsey study that looked at 700 different companies with more than 50 employees, they saw some pretty dramatic reported KPIs at the deployments of IoT projects and Industry 4.0 digital platforms. So they saw huge increases in output, huge increases in efficiency, things like inventory reduction and so forth. So that all sounds great, right? That all sounds, too good to be true on a certain scale. And for a lot of people, it is too good to be true. So those benefits were reported from the people who successfully implemented their platforms. But the statistics are also that 75% of those pilot projects to start off of those projects do not actually reach maturity, do not actually get to that point. So basically, to some, it's a great idea if you can make it work. So at the end of the day, what we at EAC want you to do is focus back on the basics. This new tool set allows us to do things that we've never been able to do before. But at the end of the day, we want to refocus in on what the manufacturing goals have been since people started using water mills to grind flour, right? We want you to look at how to reduce your operational costs, how to sell more or make more money, and how to get more out of the assets that you have in the field, and you're not going to be able to buy any new ones. So how do you do more with what you have? So at the end of the day, with those goals in mind, with that strategy, we can help formulate the technology that matches up with that. So really encourage you to reach out today and talk to us. If you have an application, if you have a business need, let's see where the intersection of technology and business strategy is. So that's all we have for today. Really appreciate you guys being on. Cassie, do we want to end with another poll?
We don't have another poll, but I do want to let you guys know that survey will appear once we shut down the webinar. So thanks again, everyone, for being here today. If you are live on this call right now, you'll receive a follow-up email this afternoon with the replay and some more information on our Connect Services team. These would be the ones helping you create an IoT strategy if you haven't yet created one. If you're watching this as a recording, reach out to us and we'll send you more information as well. Thanks again, everyone, and have